Welcome to Alive and Well, the podcast for the new era of high achievers. You're done burning out, and you're ready to lead, work, and live in a rhythm that honors both your brilliance and your body. I'm your host, Michelle Grosser. I'm a trial attorney turned nervous system strategist, and I've lived the burnout story. I know what it's like to chase your goals at the expense of your well-being. And I also know it doesn't have to be that way. Here, we're redefining success. It's where productivity feels peaceful, boundaries feel like freedom, and energy comes from within. Each week, I'll share practical tools for nervous system regulation, time mastery, and somatic strategies so you can show up with clarity, calm, and confidence in every part of your life. Because you, my friend, were given a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. So here's to life and living it fully. This is the path to feeling alive and well. Let's dive in. Hey, it's Michelle here. Welcome to Alive and Well. Today on the podcast, it's the final episode of our capacity expansion series. We're just going to slow things down for a bit because I think if you've been listening to this series and kind of nodding along and thinking like, yeah, that resonates, that's landing, right? Is she reading my mail? Is she like looking in my windows? This is exactly how I feel and exactly what's happening in my body. But then you're maybe also wondering like, okay, but what do I do with this? I think this is going to be helpful for you because, understanding how our nervous system functions is so helpful. There's this term out there that I hear that education is regulation, right? There's something about like just having an understanding, that brings safety to our body. But understanding alone doesn't change how we feel when we wake up in the morning, right? Experience is what does that. Structure is what does that. Repetition is what does that. So over the last two episodes, the first two parts of this series, we've talked about nervous system tools that help us regulate in the moment. And then we've also talked about, in part two, why sometimes these tools feel like they don't last long, right? They don't stick. We kind of have to keep going back to them every time that we're feeling overwhelmed or stressed out or dysregulated. And then we've talked about capacity, and not capacity as in like feeling calm or zen all the time, but as in having the ability to hold the life that you're living without constantly feeling like you're on edge. And I think that's the part that most people don't realize, is that when we talk about regulating our nervous system, it's not just about finding better tips and tools and hacks and practices. It's actually about how those tools are introduced and how are they practiced and how are they integrated. Because your nervous system, it doesn't change just because you've had insight, right? A light bulb moment while you're listening to a podcast or reading a book or talking to someone. It really changes because you're experiencing safety and regulation and expansion again and again and over in a very specific way that makes sense to your body. And this is where doing the work alone by yourself and kind of piecemealing together all these different tools can break down. Because I think when you're doing this work on your own, it often looks like, or at least this was me for a long time, I would listen to something or learn something or hear something and I would save it. And then I would try it when I was already feeling angry or stressed out or overwhelmed. And then I would promise myself like, okay, I need to get better at this. I need to get more consistent with this. Next week, like I'm going to do this when I'm actually feeling regulated to help grow my capacity. I'm not just going to wait until I'm like at the edge of what I can handle and then try to like use all of this stuff as an SOS, right? Because real life happens, work happens, kids happen. We have to make decisions. There's an emotional load. And if we're just waiting and using these tools when we're feeling activated, we're just managing ourselves all day long. And that's stressful. No one wants to be doing that, right? Our nervous system needs containment, not just like learning these new concepts and then trying to put it all together. So what I want to do today is we're just going to talk about burnout recovery blueprint. But I want to do it in like a clear, not like hypey, rushy way because I don't want this decision to feel like pressure. If you're considering joining Burnout Recovery Blueprint, it exists because I lived this. I lived it with you guys. I was running a law practice. I had 2 babies at home. I felt wired. I felt tired, but I also felt really capable. I also felt accomplished. I also felt responsible. And at the end of the day, what I actually was so deeply depleted that I didn't need another productivity strategy. I actually didn't need another hack to be able to just do more. I needed a nervous system that could actually support the life that I was building. And that's what I've designed Burnout Recovery Blueprint to do. So it's a 10-week structured nervous system recovery process. We meet live on Zoom every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Our first call is next week. So it's on January 21st is when we get started, the 10 weeks. And inside of the program, we follow a really intentional framework that I've created over the last 8 years. And I call it the return framework. And basically every letter in the word return, right? It's an acronym, stands for a part of the framework and the process. So we don't just jump straight into mindset work or boundaries. And I don't expect you to just apply all of this on your own. I'm not just giving you a bunch of information to watch on your own time and figure it out. We start by first teaching your body how to complete the stress cycle. And then from there, very specifically, I help you rebuild your baseline stress level, your baseline regulation. And then we work on the things that we can optimize to actually increase your window of tolerance, right? How do we help you grow your bandwidth and strengthen your capacity? And once that has happened over the first few weeks of the program, when you really start to learn how to teach your body to come out of fight or flight, out of survival mode, grow your capacity and expand it, only then do we start to layer in new habits and routines and boundaries and behavior change and mindset that your nervous system can actually sustain. So it's really sequenced strategically, and that's why the work itself lasts. So if you've been listening, you've checked out the page, the registration page for Burnout Recovery Blueprint, you're getting my emails, and you're like, yeah, I am functioning. I'm still going around and getting my stuff done, but I'm so exhausted. And it's not the exhaustion that a good night's sleep is fixing. Yes, I'm capable. I've achieved a lot. I'm really smart. I understand a lot of things, but I feel like I'm constantly managing myself. Maybe you don't even identify as burned out, but you know that you don't feel like yourself anymore. And maybe it's just you want to stop living on edge, right? It's man, I wake up and I'm just irritable and edgy and every little thing, just all day long, I'm just holding it in so I don't blow up. And you're living on the edge of your capacity, and you actually want to learn and understand and actually experience what it would be like to expand that. BRB is for you. And it's not about doing less, right? We've talked about that. It's not about necessarily doing less life, although I think that can be a big part of it for a lot of people. It's really about having a nervous system that can hold more. And hold it with steadiness, and hold it with clarity, and hold it with presence. And one of the most important things I think to know about BRB is that you're not going to be doing it alone. I will be there. I'm so hands-on to support you live. There's guidance. There's support in addition to what I'm doing in the room. You have a step-by-step plan that you print out with a little checklist, so you're exactly on pace and keep up, and you're not man, I don't even know where to start. It's not that type of thing. There's a sequence to this, and I give you the map for that. You're not left wondering if you're doing it right. I'm there for every checkpoint. And then if you want even more personalized coaching and clarity, there's also a VIP option for those of you who are interested in working with me on on a one-on-one level through the 10 weeks of Burnout Recovery Blueprint. And I'll help you review your real life patterns and show you exactly where your energy is leaking, what's out of alignment, and how your nervous system is responding. And when I say this, especially as a mom, when you learn how to regulate your nervous system, everybody feels it. Your whole house changes. It changes your marriage, right? Your kids can feel it. It changes how you relate to them. When you expand your capacity, your family benefits. When you stop living in survival mode, you're able to model something entirely different. And I'm just so grateful that I caught this revelation and I acted on it while my kids were young, right? And they're not going to have the memories of me. They're only 7 and 8. and they get to remember a mom who's grounded. They get to remember a mom who is present. Am I perfect at all of this? Of course not. But man, I'm light years ahead of where I was 8 years ago when I first started learning about this. These are the life skills that most of us were never taught. And as the parent, as the mom, as a leader in our home, we get to go first, right? We get to learn these things and apply these things and live them out and model them. And then one of the coolest things about Burnout Recovery Blueprint is that everything that we learn, we actually get to turn around and we can teach it to our kids. We can teach them how to regulate their emotions, right? We can teach them healthy habits for managing stress, even when they're young. We can teach them about setting boundaries to protect their values. All of these things are so important. We want to pass that on to our kids, but we have to go first, right? We have to live it out. We have to be in integrity with the things that we're teaching. So what you learn inside of BRB, it doesn't just stop with you. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. It truly has a generational ripple effect. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about it. So if you're thinking about joining us, today's the day. It's a decision point. Enrollment for Burnout Recovery Blueprint is open, but it closes tonight, Friday, January 16th at midnight Eastern time. We start next week. So if you've been waiting, maybe you've even been thinking about this for a year, right? Maybe it's like last year, you're like, man, I think I want to do this next year. But maybe you're waiting on the right time. I have an email coming, or maybe you've gotten my email about that. There is no right time. That's a lie that we tell ourselves in order to procrastinate. This is the time. And it's not because everything is lined up, and it's not because it's calm, and it's not because your schedule, is accommodating to this, and it's not because you finally have enough money put away to do it. It's because you're ready to stop managing burnout and you're ready to start building capacity by design. And from that place, everything else follows. Okay. So the link to enroll in Burnout Recovery Blueprint, it's in the show notes. Just go ahead and click it. You can check everything out. You can learn more about the program itself, how it's structured, what's inside. And if it resonates, if this series has resonated, if you've heard me talk about it before, if you know you need this, I would be so honored to support you inside of Burnout Recovery Blueprint. It's the right structure. It's the right pacing. It's the right support. It was built exactly for you. And I want you to be one of the women who come through it and come out on the other side completely transformed, right? Seeing the world, seeing yourself and your place in it so differently, feeling so good and secure and confident in your body, grounded, right? Stable, focused, expansive, passionate about life again, right? Your relationships flourishing. I could go on and on and on. And I know because I've been there and I've experienced it, and I'm not overstating it. It really is that powerful because the state of your nervous system governs everything that you say and you think and you do. And that's our life, right? So good. All right. So thanks for being here. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you being in the community. If you decide to join us in Burnout Recovery Blueprint, go ahead, register, save your spot. I cannot wait to get to know you. I cannot wait to be working side by side with you, guiding you through this process, and then watching you come out the other end just so different in all the best ways. All right. I love y'all so much. I'll talk to you soon.
If you love Mommy's Podcast, leave a review.
Thanks for listening to Alive and Well. If today's episode resonated, would you do me a favor? Take 30 seconds and leave a 5-star rating and short review. It really helps to get this show out to other people just like you who could also use the information in this podcast. And if you're ready to take the next step in regulating your nervous system, download my free Nervous System Reset Guide. It's linked right in the show notes. Inside, you'll find simple, body-based practices to help you feel more clear, calm, and connected starting today. Make sure you're following the show so you don't miss out on what's coming next, because you were made to thrive. Fully alive, fully present, and fully well. I'll see you soon.